The brothers.
Welcome back to the VG Bros annual Christmas special.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. A little warm out for Christmas.
Yeah.
We're definitely not filming this in October. We love Christmas movies.
Yes.
There are so many movies that I watch once a year around Christmas time.
Yep.
It doesn't even have to be about Christmas. If it takes place in Christmas days around there somewhere,
It counts.
boom, it's a Christmas movie.
Good enough.
And it counts, and it's on my list.
Yep.
First question, why aren't there any more great Christmas movies?
We were just talking about this. The last truly great Christmas movie I can think of is at least 15 years old. What have they been doing for the last 15 years? My guess is that all of the resources in Hollywood that go towards making Christmas movies have all been pouring into like cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies for the last 15 years.
Maybe.
I don't
and
know.
Are those any good? I don't know. Never watched them.
I wouldn't know. They look super cheesy, but
They do. We're going to talk about some classics that everyone loves and some that maybe you've never seen or even heard of before.
Yeah,
But,
maybe you
but
didn't-
you should watch them.
and some maybe you didn't realize were a Christmas movie, but now you know, and now you can write that on your list and you can watch it every Christmas.
Let's get the really popular ones out of the way. Let's just
Okay.
start with Home Alone.
Home Alone is classic.
Come on. That might be the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
It might be.
I'm-
And Netflix has a really great documentary on like the
Oh,
making
it's fantastic.
Was it The Movies We Love, I think is what
I
it's
think
called.
so.
Really, really good. Some really fun insights from the making of that movie. Like, for example, the inside of the house was all on a different like sound stage somewhere else. Like they took over like a school gymnasium or something and they made it look like the inside of the McAllister house. Like, that's kind of mind-blowing to me. You never know that by watching the movie. It's so seamless when they're showing the outside of the house and then they show you inside of the house. You never know those are two different locations, but they are. It's a really... watch that documentary. It's really good.
Home Alone is so obviously made by people who love Christmas. Every inch of that house, even like it feels like the wallpaper in the bedrooms are like Christmas themed. Like everything is a Christmas theme in that movie.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, it's a nice time capsule of like the late 80s, early 90s of just, I just love it.
The actors are great. The two bad guys are so fun. I love how they talk to each other. I love how one of them is kind of dumb and the other one is kind of smart.
Yeah, the music in Home Alone. I mean, this documentary talked about it. They were trying to think of who's gonna compose the scores and everything. And they're like, hey, let's just ask John Williams.
Yeah.
And they got him.
Yeah.
How did they do that?
I don't know.
John Williams? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I just love the movie. I mean, even Seinfeld had an episode where Jerry walked in on George and he was like weeping. And he's like, why are you crying? He's like, I was watching Home Alone. The old man got to me. Like,
Yeah,
it is. It's emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were kids when it came out and it was such a big movie. It was everybody our age. That was all we talked about.
You would just quote it constantly.
Yeah.
Now, the other big Christmas movie that I consider a Christmas movie is Die Hard.
Yeah.
I didn't see Die Hard until I was probably an adult. I think I was 18 or 19. And I don't know why I missed it all those years. I mean, it's an R-rated movie, so it's not like... I think it came out when we were 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But our parents just weren't taking us to R-rated movies when we were kids.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But I just remember the first time I saw it, it was just like the movie ended, and I was just like, I cannot believe what I just saw. And I'm almost glad that I saw it as an adult for the first time because I really got to appreciate it. I wouldn't have appreciated it as a kid, and then I think I would have just taken it for granted years later. But watching it for the first time as an adult, what an experience. It was like, this has everything that I've ever wanted in an action movie. Everything.
I love the villain in this movie. It is one of the greatest movie villains of all time. And I love that he really enjoys what he does.
I'm going to count to 3. There will not be a 4. Give me the code. 1, 2.
I love that he's having fun. Like, that's the kind of bad guy I want in a movie. Someone who's having fun. He's enjoying himself. He's making jokes on the side.
Yeah.
I mean...
Mr. Takagi didn't see it that way, so he won't be joining us for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a great line.
Love Alan Rickman. Just
Alan
one
Rickman was
of the
great.
best
Yeah.
movie villains of all time.
I get laughed at by my peers when I mention this next movie. And this movie is called The Long Kiss Goodnight. And believe you me, it seems a little ridiculous on the surface. Last Christmas, actually, I had a house full of friends, all guys my age, and we were trying to think of a Christmas movie to watch. And I made them watch this. Nobody had ever seen it. I was the only one who had seen it. And they were like, Phil, we don't want it. And I said, trust me. And I am not kidding. Everyone in that room loved the movie. And they were laughing the whole time. It was amazing. And if you've never seen The Long Kiss Goodnight, it's a little bit of, I guess, Born Identity kind of stuff.
It's very much Born Identity.
Yeah, it is. You know, amnesia, she was an assassin, this kind of stuff. But I tell you, when Samuel Jackson shows up in this movie, and this was one of the first movies I had ever seen him in. I mean, he'd known him from Pulp Fiction and little Jurassic Park, you know, before then. But this is the movie that made Samuel Jackson for me. It was like, well, I cannot believe how funny this man is. Everything he says is hilarious.
This ain't no ham on rap, pal.
What the hell are you doing?
Saving your life. I would have been here sooner, but I was thinking up that ham on rye line.
Samuel Jackson asked Gina Davis why she curses so much, and she says, what are you, a Mormon? He goes, yeah, that's why I just smoked a pack of Newports and drank 3 glasses of vodka. I mean, everything he says is hilarious throughout the whole movie.
So clutch. And I love the bad guy in this movie.
Oh, he's fantastic.
I don't even know his name. I
No,
don't even
no
know.
idea.
I mean, his name is Timothy in the movie, but I don't even know what else he's been in. Such a great bad guy. The way he answers phones while he's torturing people, he's just always, he's sadistic. He's always enjoying everything he's doing. He's funny. He's witty. I mean, at one point he kidnaps a child and some lady sees him and he just gets his pocket knife out and shows it to the lady and he's like, you're about to have 2.3 children. And she just like freaks out. And he just smiles and is like...
And then he says, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And he walks away.
I love the bad guy in A Long Kiss Goodnight.
Watch this movie. Trust me. I know it looks ridiculous. And even the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie, the action is a little...
It's a little over the top.
A little
at
over the top.
times.
It's like really the old pie plate, you know, knocking someone out kind of a thing. Trust me, this movie gets better, way better. And it's one of my all-time favorite action movies and easily a favorite Christmas movie.
I watch it every year.
I do too.
It's one of my Christmas go-tos. And it has been for the last 20 years. I mean, really.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, the very end of the movie, I don't want to spoil anything, but Samuel Jackson goes on the Larry King show, and it's just the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Yes. He's awesome.
All right. The next one, another all-time classic. Everyone loves it. Everyone's seen it. What do we got?
We got Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story.
I didn't see this movie until I was like 20 years old.
Oh, I was older than that. I got married. After I was married,
Wow.
my wife's family were like, okay, well, we got to watch Christmas Story. It's December. And I was like, a what? What is that? And they looked at me like I was some, you know, alien. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've never seen it. And then I watched it. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. This movie's incredible.
I couldn't believe what I was watching the first time I saw it. Because we had BB guns when we were kids.
Red Riders.
We had Red Riders exactly like that. We're not that old. I mean, we're not from the 40s, I promise you. But like, even back in the 80s, we had BB guns. And when that kid is like daydreaming about picking off bad guys in his backyard, that is so spot on.
You have no idea how spot on that is.
Into the mind of a child with a BB gun. That's all you do when you're holding that BB gun and it's loaded. That's all you're doing as a little kid.
Please have a bad guy show up.
That's all you literally want, a bad guy to try to break into your house so you can shoot him and save the day. It's just, those fantasies, those daydreams that kid has are so incredible. They're so funny. I love the narrator in this movie. I'm a huge fan of a narrator, by the way.
Too. Yeah.
It just always improves a movie. Anytime a movie has a narrator, I don't care if it's The Shawshank Redemption,
The Sandlot.
or The Sandlot, or Christmas Story. It just always improves it. It helps you understand what's happening, so you're never confused, you never get lost. And this narrator is so good. The sound of his voice is just like he just loves Christmas.
And it's almost like the narrator, even though it's an adult voice, it's almost like he has a child perspective. It reminds me of the Wonder Years and the, Daniel Stern doing the narration on that. It reminds me a little bit of that. And it just constantly keeps the innocence in the movie till the very end.
Yep.
Where he talks about Santa Claus as if he's real. Spoilers. No, I mean, I love A Christmas Story. I watch it every year
Me
now
too.
since
Love it.
I've discovered it.
Yep.
The next one, a lot of people have not seen this.
A lot of people don't realize this counts as a Christmas movie.
I fully count it as a Christmas movie.
Yes.
And it stars John Cusack, and it's called Better Off Dead. And if you've never seen Better Off Dead, if you've ever heard anyone make a joke about wanting $2,
Yes.
that's where this is from.
Yep.
This is the movie that made this. And what I love about Better Off Dead, and I realize every single character in this movie is developed, really well developed, all the way down to the teacher at the school who's asking Lane if he can date his ex-girlfriend, the paper boy who wants the $2, the Japanese guys that want to race him all the time. Every single character is developed. Even the math teacher. There's one of the funniest moments of this movie is that dialogue by that crazy math teacher.
R equal to the described triangle CAB quintuplicated. Therefore, it is also the 5 triangles composing the aforementioned NIGH, each are equal to the triangle CAB in this geometric concept. Therefore, the geometric metaphors can derive a repeated vectoral sum. This was your assignment, and I would like to see the results. Please, take them out.
Other kids have computers on their desks, which in the 1980s, no one had a computer at school. That was a joke.
Funny at that time.
Now I'm sure everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Better Off Dead. There's a Christmas takes place around there.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not full of like snow and jingles and stuff because it's in California and that kind of stuff.
The mom buys everyone TV dinners for Christmas, and like she thinks this is a really good idea. You just have to see it. I know it doesn't
You
sound.
have to see it. There's little things. She buys her husband this ridiculous like aardvark pajamas with a funny hat thing, and she's like, everyone's going to be wearing them. And he takes the trash out. He's in the driveway. He looks over at his neighbor, and his neighbor is wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just the most ridiculous thing in the world. It doesn't take itself seriously. There's moments that seem like it might be drug induced, but they're really not. It's not a serious movie. It's hilarious. And if you like John Cusack, this is his best movie in my opinion.
It's very much a product of the 1980s.
Yeah.
It's good.
Plenty of ski montages and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. That's where South Park
I
got
think that's
that.
where South Park got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. That, because they talked about, that's where the montage song came from, was that episode.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they used it again for Team America. They just recycled the same song. But that's what they were making fun of, was the fact that you can just get better at skiing by having a montage.
Perfect.
Yes.
Go watch Better Off Dead. Trust us.
Yes, Better Off Dead. Next is Elf.
Everyone loves Elf. One of the last great Christmas movies.
I didn't see this until I was an adult, partly because it didn't come out until I was an adult. But it's great. It's Will Ferrell. I mean, come on. That alone already like brings the quality up here.
I was very sad when Will Ferrell left SNL. That was the peak of my SNL watching life. I was religiously watching that show because it was so good. And then they said Will Ferrell is leaving the show, and I was like, well, that's it. No, there's no reason to watch SNL anymore. And then Elf came out, and then Anchorman came out, and Old School came out, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I don't need SNL anymore.
He's a movie star now.
He
Here we
is.
go.
No, Elf is fantastic. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's basically as if you were reading an old children's Christmas book, and you just sort of made a real life movie out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. All the characters are good. I like, his dad, his real dad, I think is is it James Caan?
James Caan, yeah.
He's really good. He's good in this movie. I like.
He's a terrific actor.
Yeah. He's very good. And Mary Steenburgen plays his
stepmom,
I guess.
Yeah.
Which his real mom in Step Brothers, but
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's great. You've seen Elf.
Everyone's
We don't
seen
have to
it.
talk about
Yeah.
it.
Elf is
It's a
fantastic.
classic.
The next one I know is one of your favorites, and I think I only started watching it because you told me I should.
Okay.
And it's Bad Santa.
It is. It's Bad Santa.
Bad Santa. I never really cared much for Billy Bob Thornton before this movie. I don't think I ever saw anything with him, but man, you were right. This movie is fantastic. It's not for kids. Don't let your kids watch
It
this
is
movie.
not a kids movie.
Probably one of John Ritter's last movies too.
I think it was his last movie.
maybe it was, yeah. And then
Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac, the other
Yes.
guy who also passed away later.
Bernie Mac was so funny. Man, that guy was a talent. And to have him and John Ritter and Billy Bob Thornton, the three of them are all so good. And they're all in this one, any one of those three could have carried a whole movie by themselves. And they're all in this one movie. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, and it's not for everybody. There are some people who watch it and they can't stand Billy Bob Thornton's character. And it's like, I don't really blame you. He's the world's worst person.
He's terrible.
He is just awful. He's so awful.
Here's the thing about his character. He is an alcoholic. He is an addict, like big time. And if you've ever known anyone who's that deep into being an addict, that's kind of what they're like. They are very narcissistic to the point where like nothing else in the world matters. They don't care about anybody else. They don't care about anything else. To them, they are the center of the universe. And that is this character. He does not care about anybody. He uses people. He steals things. Doesn't care.
And it's one of those movies, it's kind of like, if you've ever seen the movie Maverick with Mel Gibson, even at the very end, people who are seemingly in cahoots with each other are just backstabbing each other constantly.
Yeah.
And Bad Santa has a lot of that too. It's just like, I thought you were my friend. At the very end of the movie, they're just pulling a gun on. They're just like, dude, you were going to steal it from me if I didn't do this. I mean, everyone's backstabbing each other. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton just made this movie. He just put it over the top. He's just so incredible.
And I think they made a sequel to it, didn't they?
Oh yeah,
I never saw it.
Like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I didn't hear good things about it.
And then the next movie on our list, on paper, I should hate this movie.
Yes.
I hate old movies.
I hate most of them.
I can't stand black and white movies. It's full of over actors who came from stage and theater, and everything they say is like they're preaching to a big.
Like they're giving a Shakespearean sonnet or something like that. They're just they overact. They overdo everything.
Cannot stand it. But
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life is saved by James Stewart.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah, he doesn't overdo it. He's got kind of a short temper. He's not someone that you would immediately think, oh, this should be our protagonist of a Christmas movie. But he just, despite his kind of short temper, he has such a good heart. And he touches so many lives his entire life that by the end of the movie, that's just kind of the payoff. Was like, wow, look at all the good this guy has done for people.
And he doesn't realize it until he wants to throw his life away.
Yeah.
And it might have one of the biggest swings of being a character being so depressed and want to kill himself to being the happiest man in the world.
Yeah.
And, and the reason he becomes happy and he realizes that it is a wonderful life is because he sees what, not just his life, but I mean, he sees what the world is like without him. And that's a very altruistic mindset. And he didn't become happy because everyone came and dumped money in his house. That happened later. I mean, he walked into his house, the happiest man alive was like, isn't it wonderful? I'm going to jail.
Going to jail.
And this is before all the money came in and all of his problems sort of went away. No, it's just a wonderful movie.
Character arc for Jimmy Stewart in this movie is one of the best character arcs in any movie ever. He, in a span of about 10 minutes, he just realizes the impact that he has had on other people. Yeah. And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder about your own life. Like, what, or almost anyone out there who's suicidal Like if they could have an angel show up and show them that alternate universe without them, like how many people you've affected. Like, I think there'd be a lot less suicides in this country, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. So the last one on our list isn't even a movie. It's hard to call it a movie. It's like 25 minutes long.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
We got Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
It's so good.
It's really good. So we grew up watching this like every year. And I assumed it was really old when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I thought, because we had also grown up with the Disney Channel and we watched all those old classics, Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse from the 1940s and 50s and whatever. So we watched all that all the time growing up. I assumed Mickey's Christmas Carol was from that era. I didn't realize until I was much older that this came out in like 1980. Like this is not an old.
And as far as I know, they got most of the voice actors to do the same work 30 years later.
Everybody who is still alive, they got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Walt was gone, obviously, but they, the guy that came in that did Mickey's voice for Walt is pretty good.
Yeah. And Mickey, even though it's Mickey's Christmas Carol, I mean, he's barely in it.
It's not really about Mickey. It's
not
about Ebenezer Scrooge. I mean, that we all know the story, and it's Scrooge McDuck, which the idea of DuckTales kind of came from that.
As far as I know, that's exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
And naively, I thought growing up that this was all a Disney creation. I didn't know who Charles Dickens was. I didn't know any of this stuff.
I was a little kid.
I was a little kid, yeah. And then later I learned, I guess this is based on previous work. Okay, whatever. But this was all I knew of A Christmas Carol. For years, this was all I knew. And I know it's only 25 minutes long, and I know our wives, they love the Muppet one better and whatever, because they didn't grow up on this. It doesn't, you can tell the story in 25 minutes. And they do tell the story, and it's wonderful. And they really develop his character. I remember watching it with Dad, and he would just be laughing. And I remember thinking, man, there's a grown man behind me. He's laughing at the same stuff I am. Like, this must be really good if Dad laughs at it.
And it's a really incredible character arc for 25 minutes of storytelling.
Yeah.
That's incredible, to cram that into 25 minutes. Man, they did a really good job.
No, it's wonderful. The music is wonderful, too. It really is.
Music is awesome. The AVGN used that music
right,
for
he
one
did.
of his Christmas specials. And I don't even know if most people realize that's what it was
They
from.
probably don't.
But
Go find this. I don't know if it's on Netflix. I have no idea. Try YouTube. I don't know. Mickey. It's not Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. That's not it.
That's not it.
That's garbage. It's Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Came around 1980.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think I just downloaded it, like BitTorrent or something.
Something.
But
Yeah, go download
Yeah.
it. Go find this movie. Watch it every Christmas. Watch it with your kids.
yeah,
Make this part of everyone's childhood.
yes.
Yep. And that's it. So, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hopefully 2021 will be a much better year than 2020.
We're hoping for a better year. I mean, it can't be much worse, right? Did I just tempt fate?
I think we'll be fine.
I think we'll be all
I
right.
think we'll be fine.